All right, so this is take two. I wanted to make a quick video on Conflict of Nations World War III's Security Council subscription. So this is a membership that you have to pay around $7 a month for. And I wanted to talk to you about what exactly that entails, because there's more than meets the eye when you just read the list that they have here. You can create alliances, you have your building queues,
custom article images, fire control settings, permanent season, unit unlocks, premium chat, rally point placement.
you can read it. I think the most important three of these is building queue, fire control settings, and rally point placing, because those drastically change the way you play the game. And as a result, whether or not you get one or you don't have one, I think is very important, and you should know what the difference is. So let's just go over those 3 points. Alliance creation and permanent seasonal unit unlocks, those could be considered as important as well, but the three that I'm about to mention affect your daily play. Like, it literally affects how you play the game. So the first thing I want to talk about is building queues. With the subscription, you can use the building queue. When you don't have it, you can only create one thing at a time. So you can see that, my recruiting office level 4 is going to finish in 7 hours, 46 minutes. If I wanted to have a high efficiency in the game, I would probably have to set an alarm 7 hours and 46 minutes from now in order to log back into the game and, build the next thing that I was going to build. Of course, I have to remember what the next thing I was going to build is anyway. So that also takes extra brain power. And you could imagine that with a whole bunch of things going on at once, everything having their own build time, it really gets out of hand when you don't have the building queue. If you want to be, if you want to have a chance of winning the game, this is a really, really important feature. I've been able to get away with winning more games than not, even without this feature, but I could see it being so much harder to do so without it. Because you can imagine, like, this finishes in 15 hours, this finishes in 6 hours. You would have to log in like every other hour in order to play the game efficiently. And that's just not something that most people have time to do. That's probably how they get you to subscribe and buy the membership, because building queues are so important to a real-time strategy game like this. So not having it makes you log in a lot more. I think I've belabored that point. Let's go on to the next one. I told myself I would do this in one take. I don't want to spend too much time making the video, creating a script, all that stuff. So the second thing is fire control. Without the subscription, you don't have fire control, and that drastically changes the way you have to interact with artillery units, which are arguably one of the best ways to maintain your army. So normally, when you have the subscription, what you can do is you can set your fire control to aggressive, and that makes it so that the moment the artillery spots anything, the artillery and everything in the stack stops moving, and it'll just focus on destroying the unit. That means they'll never run into each other. But without the subscription, the only fire control you're allowed to have is default, and that means, let's say there's an enemy in the next province right here, and I send my unit to go into the middle of the province. What that'll do is the artillery and the entire stack will just go straight into the middle of the province, and if it just so happens to be that there's a stack of, say, 10 main battle tanks, I'm just going to get destroyed immediately. No questions asked. If I had the aggressive setting on the artillery, it would stop right as it sees the main battle tank stack in the distance, and it'll fire away until the other person decides to do something. So as you can see, fire control is a massive, massive, massive advantage. So when you don't have the fire control settings, artillery gets massively nerfed, and you can't rely on it so much. So actually, the very units that you build will also have to change. I didn't used to buy or build main battle tanks when I had the subscription, but one of the main draws for main battle tank is it doesn't actually require the subscription to be good. These artillery units, towed artillery, mobile artillery, multiple rocket launcher, these rely very heavily on the fire control in order to be effective. So do naval units and so do submarines. So this is actually a bigger thing than you might initially realize. But just talking about land units, because for naval units, there's nothing you can do about it. You're just nerfed. If you have an attack submarine with 100 range, and you're fighting destroyers with 75 range, that's the difference. So having a subscription, you outrange the destroyer stack. Ooh, sorry. You outrange the destroyer stack, and you can just you can kill them without taking any damage yourself. But if you don't have the subscription, your attack submarine, even if it is a higher tech stack, it'll run right into the destroyers, and the destroyers will, destroy you. What was I saying? Right. I used to not buy main battle tanks. I didn't really see the point of it, but without a subscription, these are probably the best units you can make, because whether or not you have fire control settings, it really doesn't matter. Having a main battle tank in your city, I mean, it does have negative bonuses for cities, but it's so tanky that having it in your city is not really you wouldn't complain if you had one in your city. And the having the rally point, having no rally point, it doesn't matter too much, because you can just send it from here. It doesn't matter if it's here or here. You can just send it straight all the way through to the territory that you want to get to. And it's just going to do the same thing. It's just going to get to this territory, mow whatever's here down, go to the next territory, mow everything down sequentially. And so that's basically what I'm trying to say. The units that you make completely change. The last thing I wanted to talk about, I already talked about it, or rally point placing. If you wanted your unit to be at a certain place when you logged on the next time, you can't do that. It'll be in the city that you built it in. That could make or break some situations. It just makes the gameplay a lot slower. You're going to be invading other cities or countries or whatever you want to call them a lot slower. And so the point I'm trying to get to is that this is a rather pay-to-win game. If you haven't been disillusioned by the game already, the Security Council subscription in and of itself is not really a big issue for me, even though it is pay to win. It's basically pay to win, right? But it's actually workable. I had the solution. If I can't build artillery effectively, I'll just go main battle tanks. That's completely fine. I'm fine with that. The issue with this game, the dark side of this game, is that this game is completely pay to win. The more money you put into a certain game, the easier it is for you to win. And actually, it's even worse than that. Let me rephrase that. You can win the game solely by putting more money into the match that you're playing. Say for a game like EVE Online, I've made EVE Online videos before. It doesn't matter how much money you poured into the game. You still have to be good at the game, or you'll lose all the money that you've injected into Plex, and then you trade for ISK. You get, oh man, I got a Titan. You're just gonna lose it if you're bad at the game, right? But in Conflict of Nations World War II, you could do something like this, where this person spent loads of money. I've actually never seen any player spend this much money on a single game. He must have spent at least $30, because he spent $10 just on demoralizing my cities. So at the very beginning of the game, he already had basically the entirety of the bottom half of South America, and that's clearly because he paid money. Keep in mind, this is day 17, and he has, where'd it go? Yeah. Level 5 naval base, level 3 naval base. He has a huge army. He has 7 annexed cities total. Pardon me. But so you don't have to be good at the game at all to actually win it. You just have to pay the developers of the game enough money, and you can press the I win button, which allows you to build your units faster than everybody else, have more units, do things that that only paying money can do. Let's see. Yeah, right here. So morale dropped by 10%, 10%, 10%. That's just today. Sorry if you can hear that humming in the background. Yeah, like drop by 10%, drop by 10%, and he just keeps going. In order to win against these people who just decide, hey, I want to drop 50, $30 to $50 to automatically win the game, is to pay money yourself. And I did try to spend a little bit of gold, but the amount of money he's paying to win against a free to play player like me is just ridiculous. And it disillusioned me that this is actually a strategy game. It's not a strategy game. This is a cash cow, And I'm not particularly upset at this person because this is part of the game. The developers allowed for this kind of thing. So if anything, I'm kind of disappointed in the developers for actually allowing something like this to happen, where you can actually keep paying money until the amount of money that you paid allows you to win the game. There's no integrity of gameplay in a game like this. And so if this kind of stuff is possible, see, the reason why monetization in games like Eve are okay is because it depends on how good you are, and then that allows you to enables you to make use of the money that you put in the game. But in games like this, you just pay money, and then it doesn't matter how good you are. You just automatically win the game if you pay enough money, because you get so many advantages that players who actually like to play the game as it's intended to be played, they just can't compete. So that's unfortunate. I'm not too upset about this loss. Again, this is only the second game that I've lost, and I'm winning the other 4. I will win the other 4, so I'll have a 67% win rate, even as a free-to-play player. But yeah, if this is the kind of game that I'm actually playing, I think I'd rather spend my time doing something else. So that's it. Just know what you're getting into when you play Conflict of Nations World War III. It is a fun game. It is a fun strategy game. I've had a blast talking with the other players in my coalition, even as this was going down. I was trash talking this guy the entire time, and it was a blast. But it still stands that this is more than pay to win. It's literally a cash grab of a game, and I'm disappointed in the developers for actually setting up a pay. What is that? Like setting it up so that the game actually works this way. So I hope you guys got something out of that. Sorry to dunk on your favorite game if this is your favorite game, but that's kind of how it is. If you didn't like the content of this video, be sure to dislike the video, and I'll see you guys next time.